guitar players, Korey Hicks here, and today we're going to be talking about an arpeggio that really unlocked the neck for me when I was first starting to play guitar. It's a minor 7th arpeggio, and one of the reasons I want to show this to you today is because it can be used in so many different locations. One of the most common structures in a major key is a minor 7th arpeggio. The 2 chord is a minor 7, the 3 chord is minor 7, and the 6 chord. So we can get a lot of use out of this one structure. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to be doing everything today in the key of G major. I'm going to be using the 6 chord, E minor 7, here at the 7th fret. So this shape goes like this. E is going to be the 7th fret on the A string. My pinky is going to play the 10th fret on the A string. Then I have the 9th fret on the D string, 7th fret on the G string, 9th fret on the G string, 8th fret on the B string. This is the 7th fret on the high E, and my pinky is now on the 10th fret of the high E. The notes that I'm playing are E, G, B, D, E, G, B, and D. Therefore, this is a 2-octave arpeggio. E, G, B, D, E, G, B, D. One of the things that I want you to think of it as is the intervals. 1, flatted 3rd, 5th, flatted 7th, root. And then it would continue. Root, flat 3rd, 5, flatted 7th. Now what are we flat 7 and flat 3rding about? Well, this is from the parent key of E major. So if my root is E, and the major 3rd of an E major scale is G sharp, if I'm playing a G in this arpeggio, that's why we call it the flatted 3rd. If my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of an E major scale is D sharp, and I'm playing D natural, that means that that is a flatted 7. This is one of the reasons why it's going to be super important for you to memorize all of your major scales. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. That would be an E major scale. And you can do this for all 12 major scales. Now that we have our E minor 7th arpeggio, we're going to sit here and kind of practice it as what I call a roll. So this is something where I kind of maybe take the bottom part of this arpeggio and just play it until I get comfortable. Now when I'm practicing anything like this, what I'm looking for is a nice, comfortable, no tension way of playing it. You don't want to be struggling through it when you're playing it. So only go as fast as you believe that you can do it. We can always work it up to a faster speed later. Once I'm kind of comfortable with the bottom part of this octave, I'm going to come up to the very top. And this is my full structure. Now I remember sitting at the foot of my bed when I was learning these things. Maybe for 10 minutes, maybe for 15 minutes, whatever it was, really getting used to the feel of that thing. We need to be able to play this in multiple locations of the neck. One thing that you might want to try is starting at the very first fret, which is the first available place you could play this, and just running it up the neck, like this. And that would be all 12 of the chromatic root notes of all of our minor 7th arpeggios. That would be at least this shape of the minor 7th arpeggio in every single root that you could possibly have. Now, I don't see that as a very logical way to do this because your brain turns off. I remember thinking, you get up here a ways, all right, Korey, which minor 7th are you on? I'll be like, fret 4, I don't know. See, if you just think of it by frets, you're never going to actually learn where stuff is. So one of the things that I suggest students do is try this cycle 4. Cycle 4 is C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, F sharp, B, E, A, D, and G. This forces us to locate the arpeggio before we play it. So we don't want to be reactionary improvisers. You don't want to play something and then try to figure out if it sounded good or not. You want to know it sounds good, know exactly where you're going, and then find it. So I'm going to start off with C. So this is just all my notes in the A string. C minor 7, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, F sharp, B, E, A, D, and finally G. And then I would have all 12 of those. The other thing that you could do is do these by keys. If you know your keys, and I'll show them on the screen right now, our 2 chord is minor 7, like I mentioned, 3 chord is minor 7, and the 6 chord is minor 7. So if I'm in the key of C, I would play D minor 7, E minor 7, and A minor 7. If I'm in the key of F, my chords would be G minor 7, A minor 7, and D minor 7. If I was in the key of B flat, my minor 7th arpeggios would be C minor 7, D minor 7, and G minor 7. So you could do this for all 12 keys to really get a feel for where you could put these things. And you can use them in tandem with each other. I just used the 3 arpeggio into the 2 arpeggio. I could do 6, 3, 2. So you can come up with different combinations. Maybe go up one and down the other. Lots of different things that you can use this arpeggio for. The next thing I'll talk about is going to be adding the 9th scale degree of this particular arpeggio. Back to the key of C major, where we had that D minor arpeggio as our 2. The Dorian mode, which is the 2nd mode of C major, has a 9, which is the same as the 2nd note. That's the note E. Now, why is it called a 9 and not a 2? Well, because in modern music, we call the tensions above 7. So it's 1, 9, 3, 11, 5, 13, 7 when we play a scale. 1, 9, 3, 11, 5, 13, 7. So this is kind of a way that I look at it, like you have your 4 notes of your arpeggio, 1, 3, 5, and 7, and then you have this other triad that sneaks in like this. Here's the 9, the 11, and the 13. When we're playing this, we can kind of add that 9 in. I always thought that made it sound kind of mature. And because it adds a nice little half-step note, you can make up some pretty fast, cool little legato licks using this tone. So if I wanted to use this type of phrase in the key of C major over D Dorian, I would use the 9 there on the D. Can't use it on the E minor, but I can use it on the A minor. So again, just to kind of go over this again, why can't we use the 9 on my 3 minor 7 arpeggio? Well, the 9 of D Dorian is the note E. The 9 of E Phrygian is F, which is the flat 9. You see what I mean? If I were to play the same structure, I would get an F sharp. There is no F sharp in the key of C, so we can't use that pitch. Let's do one more thing with this easy arpeggio shape. We're going to go from just the 12 arpeggios that we've been doing, so same shape, but in 12 different places on the neck, giving us all these different notes of the chromatic scale. And we're going to extend this quite a bit. We're going to go all the way up to 60 arpeggios. Now, how does this work? Well, if we know, back to our E minor 7th arpeggio from the beginning of the lesson, 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. If I want a dominant 7th arpeggio, I raise the 3. 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 1, 3, 5, flat 7. So now I get a dominant 7th arpeggio. This adds 12 arpeggios to our collection because we could do C7, F7 through the whole thing. So now we have 24 arpeggios. Well, if I want to raise that 7, 1, 3, 5, that's my major 7th. Now I have 36 arpeggios because now I have E major 7. So now we got C major 7, F major 7, all the way through the rest of the keys. Now going back to our minor 7, If we want a minor 7 flat 5, which is also called a half diminished chord, all I have to do is flat the 5th. 1, flat 3, flat 5. Take that 5th, you probably know a power chord, and lower it. Another way that you can use the half diminished arpeggio is as the 7 chord in a major key. This is going to be the F sharp minor 7 flat 5 chord in our key of G major. So I could just go up that arpeggio and then go down the E minor. Lots of great ideas for this. And finally, if we lower the 7th another tone, we're going to get a fully diminished. 1, flat 3, 5, double flat 7, also known as the 6, root 1. There it is again, right there. So now I have E major 7, E dominant 7, E minor 7, E half diminished, and E fully diminished. As one last little cool trick, your E diminished 7th arpeggio can be repeated every flat 3rd interval. And they're all the exact same chord. Alright, well if this has been helpful, go ahead and give us a like, consider subscribing to the channel, and share this with other people who are learning how to play guitar. I will see you again in the next video. Peace!